Hello, welcome back to Leonard Creek Farm. Probably getting ready to step on some toes and get a little bit controversial, but that's okay. Hey everybody, you've met this guy before if you watched any of our videos. This is our Livestock Guardian Koa. He is an Anatolian and Kangal cross. His mother was a Kangal and Anatolian, and his daddy was an Anatolian. And so he's got a little bit of Kangal in him, but he's mostly Anatolian. But he does have that Kangal cross. Today we're going to talk about some rules, what our rules are, and some general rules, 5 specifically, of what it takes or what you need to know before you get a Livestock Guardian dog. So, this sweet guy has been a wonderful addition to the farm, and I just kind of want to let people know what we've learned and what are some things that you need to consider when getting a Livestock Guardian dog for your farm. Alright guys, I also want to preference this video by, you're probably going to hear a lot of noise in the background. We've got an electric company working on down the road, and we literally have an electric company working on our farm in the yard right now. Andy said yes sir. So it's kind of loud. There's going to be some distracting noises in the back. But I'm wanting to make this video, and I've been waiting for hours for them to get done, and they're just not getting done. And so we're going to have to do this with the noise in the back. So I just wanted to preface it by saying I hope that it's not too annoying for you. Alright guys, the first thing we're going to talk about is breed. So breed matters. 100% breed matters. Also, there are different types of breeds, and you want to look into those breeds and certain traits of those breeds that you don't want on your farm. There's certain things that certain breeds have. So a lot of the main breed you hear a lot is a Great Pyrenees. I have nothing against Great Pyrenees. They're great dogs. But something that Great Pyrenees are known for is wandering. They're wanderers. And that's one of the number one reasons that we don't have a Great Pyrenees, is because they wander. That was the reason. That was the number one reason we didn't want a Great Pyrenees, is because we didn't want a wanderer. But they all have downfalls. You've just got to pick and choose what downfall you would rather have. Anatolians are known for digging, and so they'll dig underneath everything. They dig things out, and that's something that they're known for. And between wandering and digging, we picked the one that digs. So when you are choosing a breed of Livestock Guardian dog, you want to look into the things that the specific traits that you don't want on your farm. Also, just because it's a Great Pyrenees in the bloodline and it's crossed with something else that's not a Livestock Guardian dog doesn't make it a Livestock Guardian dog. You want a full-bred Livestock Guardian dog breed, because if you have something, let's say a Great Pyrenees mixed with some type of breed of cattle dog, you're going to have a Great Pyrenees that chases and runs after and bites your livestock. That's not something you want. You don't want a herding dog mixed with a Livestock Guardian dog. If you want a herding dog, then get a herding dog. A Livestock Guardian dog mixed with a herding dog is not going to be a good mix, because that's not something you want your Livestock Guardian dog doing. That's something you train your Livestock Guardian dog not to do, is to chase the livestock. So you don't want that embedded into their DNA. But there's many other things that I could get into. It could be a whole nother video. But breed matters. That's number one. Breed matters. Alright, number 2. The second thing that goes right along with breed mattering. What breed do you want? Is working lines. When you get a Livestock Guardian dog, you need to make sure that they come from working lines. It's an amazing thing to go to the pound and to pick up Great Pyrenees or some type of livestock guardian dog, one, you're not going to know exactly what their breed is unless you do some kind of DNA testing. Secondly, you're not going to know whether they came from working lines or not. And just because they're a Great Pyrenees, or just because they're an Anatolian, or just because they're a Kangal, just because they are a livestock guardian breed, does not mean that they know how to work the farm. When you get a livestock guardian animal, you need to make sure that the animal is coming from a working line. You need to ensure that mom and dad both work, because when they're born, they're going to be born on the farm. They're going to be born to parents who are working at that time. They're going to be in the environment. They're going to have the smells. They're going to get all the senses right at birth. That's something that's so important. You need to make sure that they come from working lines. Alright guys, number 3, our third rule of having a livestock guardian dog is training the dog. Before you get a livestock guardian dog, you need to look into the things that come inherently to the dog, the things that they know, the things that are in their DNA, the things that are in their blood, the things that they've learned from their parents, because they came from working lines, right? They came from working lines. You need to understand what needs to be trained into them or trained out of them. Things that you don't want them to do and things that you want them to do is pretty much what it boils down to. A livestock guardian dog has it in their DNA to protect the livestock. They will protect the livestock at all costs. That is not something you need to train the animal to do. Something you need to train the animal not to do is to chase the animal, is to do inappropriate things with the animal, such as playing with the animals. They tend to, when they're puppies, to run and chase and play because that's what puppies do. But that's not something you want your puppy to do. And so there's certain things that you're going to have to train the animal to do. And so when you're looking into getting a livestock guardian dog, you want to make sure that you are positive of the things that you don't want your animal to do, or the things you want your animal to do. There's certain things that obviously need to be trained into the animal. Obedience, listening to you, learning you're the master. Those are things that you do with any dog. And so a livestock guardian dog is not for the weak of mind, or the person that allows their dog to walk all over them, or a first-time dog owner, in my opinion, because they're smart, and they have to be treated in a different manner than you would treat a house pet or a dog that's inside your home, because they have a higher standard of what is expected from them. They are there to protect livestock. So whatever your livestock is, whether it be chickens, goats, rabbits, anything like that, you want them to protect them, and they will protect them. But they're not, the animal doesn't just come with certain things. They don't come knowing that you're the master and they have to obey you. Those are things that they have to learn. And so when you look into getting a livestock guardian dog, I recommend looking into the things that need to be trained, and things that don't need to be trained. Number 4, our 4th rule when having a livestock guardian dog, what I recommend is a good fence. Depending on what dog you have, what breed of dog you have, you could have a wander like the Great Pyrenees breeds. You could have a digger like the Anatolians or the Kangal breeds. But either one, I would advise to have a good fence. We haven't had any problems with Koa wandering or anything like that. We have had problems with him jumping the fence, though. And we have those 4-foot, no-climb fences. But once he got big enough, he figured out that he could jump. And so we quickly put electric line on the top of the fence. And since then we haven't had any problem. He's broke to electric fence now. And so when you get a livestock guardian dog, you need to be prepared to set boundaries for the livestock guardian dog. Especially for breeds such as the Pyrenees that tend to be wanderers, they need boundaries. Because if they don't have boundaries, to them, it's limitless. To them, everything they see or anything that they can reach is their territory. And if you live in a large rural area, that might not be that big of a problem, but if you have close neighbors, it's no bueno, no good. You don't want your dog over on other people's property. You don't want your dog wandering onto the highway. You don't want your dog wandering into the roads. You don't want your dog, if it's not fixed, to be wandering and breeding other people's dogs or getting bred by other people's dogs, because that's no fun. And they'll do that because they're dogs. And so I always think of Great Pyrenees like lions. And if you've ever watched any videos, any nature videos, those lions will go to the farthest boundary they have. And they'll go mark that territory, and everything that they can get to is theirs. And that's the same way with a livestock guardian dog, Pyrenees especially, because they will go to the farthest boundary that they can get to, and they will claim that as theirs. And sometimes that farthest boundary is not your property. And so you need to make sure that you have a good fence for the protection of your animal, and for the safety of your animal. And so that's another big thing with the livestock guardian dogs. You need to make sure that you're setting boundaries up for them, that they're aware of, so that they're not doing anything that could cause them to get hurt. Guys, the fifth rule, the last rule, that goes right along with training the animals, and I've talked about them training them not to chase the animals and to play with the animals and things like that. This goes right along with it. Never leave a livestock guardian dog, an untrained young livestock guardian dog, with the livestock by itself before it is trained to obey you, and it has learned the commands and the things that are appropriate and inappropriate to do. You hear so many times that people getting a little puppy, they're throwing it in the pasture, they're throwing it in the barn, they're throwing it with the livestock, and then it kills your chickens, or kills one of your goats, or kills one of your sheep, or you come out and it's chasing the sheep and it's terrorizing the sheep and just doing all those different things. I don't care if it's an adult animal that you go pick up off the farm, that it's been a working dog. If you don't know that dog and that dog doesn't know you, it shouldn't be with your livestock. And so there's, like I said before, there's certain things that need to be trained into an animal. There's certain things that don't need to be trained into an animal. And one of the number one things is that people don't understand that. They don't understand that a livestock guardian dog is, especially as a puppy, they don't understand. They're babies, and so there's certain things that need to be trained into them. And even something as small as them getting into a fight that two other animals are having. So we've got two goats fighting. It's not the livestock guardian dog's responsibility to break up the animals fighting. You don't want them to get in the middle of the animals fighting. They are there to protect the animals from predators, from people, things like that. They're not there to break up fights. They're not there to play. If you're getting a livestock guardian dog, there's a line between what's appropriate between you and that livestock guardian dog and what's appropriate. Well, he's got something to say. What's appropriate behavior between the livestock and the livestock guardian dog. And so, never buy a puppy throw it in the chicken yard and expect that puppy to know exactly what to do, because they won't. And so maybe that should have been the number one rule, but just know that having a livestock guardian dog is a responsibility. It's a big responsibility for the dog to protect and to secure the farmyard and the farm. And it's a big responsibility on you to know exactly what the animal needs and exactly how the animal should behave. And so when you get a livestock guardian dog, it doesn't need to be scary, but you need to be aware of the things that the animal needs and the things that you need to know. Alright guys, I get carried away talking, but we're going to go ahead and review these. So number one, make sure that the dog that you get is a livestock guardian breed. It's not mixed with whatever down the road. Make sure that it comes from a livestock guardian dog breed. Number two, make sure that it comes from working lines. You want your animal to come from working lines. Number three, make sure that you know what needs to be trained into your animal, what needs trained out of your animal. Number four, make sure you have boundaries set up for your animal, good fencing set up for your animal. And number five, make sure that you never leave your livestock guardian puppy alone at first by itself with your livestock. That goes right along with training, but we just don't want to throw our babies in there and expect them to know exactly what to do. Guys, I appreciate y'all watching. I appreciate y'all hanging out. I hope that I wasn't too controversial. I hope I didn't hurt nobody's feelings. I'm sure I probably said some things that probably step on some toes, and that's okay. We all don't have to agree on everything all the time. Everybody can have an opinion, and so this is just my opinion on what I think is appropriate things, important things that we need to know before we get livestock guardian dog breed dogs to protect livestock guardian breed dogs. Yeah, I said that right. To protect our farm and our livestock. I appreciate y'all watching. I appreciate y'all hanging out, and I hope that we can see you on the next one. We'll see you later. Bye.